Let's go. Andrew Clement. What are we talking about?
I'll take it away. Yeah, so we hear from PH Brazil that there is the rumor of the direct from PH Brazil or is that the new game?
It's a rumor, but okay, I'll just whenever I go, I'll say.
Yeah, you can
okay.
answer.
Well, anyways, there's a rumor. I think even if there wasn't a rumor, you could make a pretty safe bet that there's one next month. We also got Pokemon Presents. But anyways, we hear there's a new game coming from a beloved franchise that's niche from Nintendo. I've heard from Nate the Kirby Planet Robobot HD rumor floating around. I just want to know what you guys are expecting. And the reason I picked this topic is pretty lame. It's because I have no idea. I've thought long and hard, and all I can think of is that April Direct. Anything I think of, I'm like, no, that would be in the April Direct. And I can't get my mind to do it. So I want you guys to educate me and tell me what's in your mind. And let's start with Gamebird. What's on your thoughts for this February Direct? Is it just a partner showcase? I forgot to ask that too. But anyways.
Right. Well, first off, if the rumors are true, I think it's really cool, regardless of the caliber of this Direct. I excuse me. I know one of the times I was on, we talked about how in the past, Nintendo's kind of let their systems die a little bit. It just kind of fizzles out leading up to the launch of the next console. So giving any sort of showing this close to when their next console is going to launch is rad, whether it's a partner showcase or a mainline Direct. As far as what I'm hoping to see, obviously I'm hoping it's a mainline Direct and not a partner showcase. I'd love to see, obviously I'm sure we can all agree there's plenty of ports that would be rad on the Switch. Obviously Prime 2 and Prime 3 come to mind. With Prime 4 on the horizon, a lot of people have been begging for those Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remakes. And then I don't know, I feel like just doing the ports is a safe and great way. I feel like there's got to be that one more thing. Kirby makes a lot of sense. That fits really well into that kind of end of life console. It's a safe announcement. Kirby's popular, but I don't know. I'd like to see some fun little third party surprises. I know we had some. There was that one RPG from Level 5, that Deca Police, that looked pretty cool. That game is probably coming to Switch too, but I'd love to see
it's been a long time since we've seen that, right?
Yeah. So I'd love to see that. In one of the last Directs, I know we had from the same studio, I forget the name, that made Danganronpa. It was another kind of visual novel detective whodunit game that looked pretty cool. So I think some more smaller scale third-party stuff as well as some ports is a pretty safe bet, with maybe one surprise like a Kirby. I'm trying to think of anything outside of Kirby that they wouldn't want to save for Nintendo Switch 2, and I'm struggling with that a little bit, but I don't know what you guys think.
So I hear Prime 2 and 3 and a Zelda port talked about a lot. If you had to put some money on it, do you think do you think both or only one of these or none are coming this February? I'll tally up everyone as we go through too.
I think it would be one of the two. I don't think it would be both of them.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
All right. I know, Mike, you sound like you were already ready to talk about this when I brought it up. So what's your thoughts this next coming month?
The Nintendo Direct is happening. It's not a rumor that it's happening. It's happened for the past 7 years now, and even last year we only got one main Direct. Still, we got a partner Direct in February. So whether it's happening or not, it's happening. It's not a rumor, and so sorry, PH. After that,
I will say
to push back. Wasn't September a thing for year after year after year, and then it didn't happen?
At least February has not failed.
Sure,
right, but this could be the first.
And I could also say Nintendo has already announced a Direct for April, which is a lot different than most years.
Still standing on February, not failing.
By the way, I totally think what's happening in February.
I agree with you too.
I mean, just by having Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends Arizona on the map,
there we go.
It's still, we have to get dates for that. They keep pushing that. Oh yeah, we have Metroid Prime 4 2025, Pokemon Legends ZA 2025. And so obviously those dates will be announced in the upcoming Nintendo Direct, which is going to be focused on Nintendo Switch 1. No mention of Switch 2 in that Direct because, of course, they're saving everything for April. But besides those games, which have been announced, I think the remake that we're probably going to talk about later will be not remake, remaster. Okay, we'll leave that for later on. Right, that's another topic. That's another topic. All right.
Wait, which game is this?
The rematch, because I have a thought that kind of combines this topic and then the next topic.
Okay.
The Zelda game.
Yeah. So
okay.
For this,
let's save the Zelda game for the other topic. Yeah.
All right. So for this Direct, we're gonna get a Wind Waker HD on this. Okay. Yeah. So Wind Waker HD on this one. That's what I believe it's coming. Of course, the Metroid Prime 2 and 3. It's a given. Metroid Prime 4 is around the corner, so don't be surprised.
So you think all three of those are coming in February?
I believe so.
Okay.
I mean, they released Metroid Prime remastered, right? And I think that it's only fitting for them to kind of continue the lines for those who want to get on track with playing the next 2 Metroid games without having to go back and play them at a low resolution. So they might just give us an HD version of Metroid Prime 2 and 3, maybe at a dual pack for $70, and so those games, Metroid Prime 2 and 3, we got Pokemon coming there. That brand new game that they're talking about, I'm gonna call it. No, it's not happening. We're gonna yeah, I'm gonna call it. It's not happening. It's not happening. What else? Robobot, by the way, remember the trademark, the new trademark for Robobot they published on X. So Thunder.
I remember.
Yeah. So that Robobot thing, say hey, that's good. So I'll call that one too. I think it's gonna be a Direct Mini for some reason.
I forgot about the minis.
Yeah, I think.
I think just go Prime 4.
Yeah, Prime 4 is yeah. They're gonna get
a mini if they put 4 in there.
I mean, a Direct Mini is still plentiful games, right? We have at least in 20 minutes we can get like 20 games.
Well,
15 games, right? Still a Direct Mini is 20 minutes, right? 21 minutes. A full Direct is 40.
I think it's more about what's in the Direct that decides if it's
yeah.
Like the bigger the games, the more emphasis, the longer the trailers they get, it kind of all adds up.
Yeah.
I wonder if Prime 4 is going to release on the Switch 2 if they just save the next Prime 4 trailer and release date for the April Direct. I do wonder that.
I think I'm more inclined to believe that too. I think people generally don't believe it, but I do think announcing 2 and 3 and 4 at the same time would kind of eat into the attention of each other. I think just give a couple months to 2 and 3. I'm leaning towards they're not coming. I'm very much in the minority on that, but yeah, I think I agree with you. If it's coming, I feel like they got to be separated a little for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
And we've already seen the game running on the Switch, and it looks beautiful, I have to say. It was shocking to see how rad that game looked running on Switch. But we've seen it there now. How cool would it be the next time to see it again running on Switch 2, enhanced visuals, the ray tracing, all that good stuff. You know it's on Switch. You now know it's coming to Switch 2. Regardless, I don't know. I forgot to mention, Mike, not to interrupt you. I thought it was going to be one of those 2 port combos, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, or Prime 2 and 3. The one that I think is more likely is Prime 2 and 3. I see Wind Waker, Twilight Princess saved for Switch 2. And I don't even know at what caliber. I don't know if it is the HD ports or if we're going to get an updated Switch Online with GameCube games, and maybe they bring the GameCube versions of those games over. It'll be interesting to see. I think the issue with bringing over the HD versions, as much as I'd love to see it, and I've said this before on the podcast, those games by default will play better on the Wii U because the dual screen functionality with your menu, items, map, it's a better gameplay experience on the older hardware. So,
Yeah.
and Wind Waker in its GameCube form, to a lot of people, looks even better than the HD because it has more of that Saturday morning cartoon look. So I'm more inclined to think that at this stage we're going to get Prime 2 and 3. So sorry to interrupt, Mike. I just wanted to clarify what I thought would be there.
You're good, bro. Yeah, I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. I had just 3 more games that I wanted to add. And then an NSO prediction. I think we're gonna get some type of Mario game for like a last Mario game for Nintendo Switch. Could be some kind of port, maybe Mario Galaxy 2, right? And maybe that Mario Galaxy 2 with some type of edition. Maybe that could be the brand new game they're talking about, like an edition, like a Bowser's Fury type of game added to Mario Galaxy 2. I can see that happening for Nintendo Switch. The other one is, my God, please forgot. Some type of Zelda game. Some type of Zelda game. I know we just got one, but I'm gonna put that some type of Zelda game. But NSO, I'm gonna call it GameCube. I call it every single direct, but I'm calling it this time GameCube, because I know that there's a lot of people saying, yeah, but GameCube games are going to be HD'd and remade. I'm like, yeah, but remember, there's like 800 games on GameCube. There's so many games out there that will not get a chance to be remade because their current games right now are just so hot. Like Mario Kart, right? Double Dash is a great one to live online. We have Smash Brothers Ultimate, Smash Bros. Melee can live online with multiplayer, which will be awesome. And it'll be awesome for the competitive community to have it finally there. Yeah, Animal Crossing, the very first game for the cozy fans out there, right? Have that first Animal Crossing game on NSO as well would be a really good add-on. But yeah, I think it's a direct mini.
Yeah,
and don't be surprised if they do direct mini partner showcase like they did with direct last year's double whammy with the Indie World partner showcase.
Yeah, to add on to your NSO thought, I think it's important to remind people that just because, like, let's just say we know GameCube's coming, just because GameCube would be coming doesn't mean they're going to put everything on there. Yeah. And they're definitely not going to put it on there all right away. Exactly. And like, yeah, if they put Wind Waker on there, I bet it's going to be at least years till we see it on there, if even when we see it ever during the Switch 2 cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we got a little lucky with, I mean, it's so different because Link's Awakening remake was literally a remake.
Yeah.
But they didn't have it available on Game Boy NSO until I think it was a year later. But that's such a difference. Well, I feel like GameCube to it's not as crazy of a hop. So I agree with you there. All right, Eric, let's get to your thoughts on next month's potential direct.
Oh, that's a tough one. Man, I think Nintendo's going to save it all for their kind of, I don't even know if they'd even save it for their next one in April. They might do one in June right before the Switch 2 comes out, and that's when they're going to blow their load on their games. So I'm going to just kind of stick with this one. Might be a partner or an indie, I think. And then once they kind of get past the showing of the Switch 2, which I think is going to be just that, going to be focusing on that in April, not even games, maybe a couple of them, but then in June, right before it releases, just here you go. Here's your games.
Wait, so you're saying 2 directs before the Switch 2 comes out?
Well, there's already the one in April.
Oh, right. That's what I mean. In April and June.
And then June, yep.
Oh, dang.
June's going to be games.
That'd be something.
June's going to be games.
I never thought of that.
April will be the couple of major release games plus the Switch 2 itself. And then this one here in February, if there is one, is going to be like an indie partner type thing.
Okay. That sounds a lot more possible when you phrase it like that. For sure. Well, sweet. All right, Thunder, what are you thinking?
Okay. So, PH Brazil said there's a new game coming from a beloved franchise that's niche from Nintendo.
Yeah, I think he said later on in a reply that when he said niche, he probably went too far with that. That might not be so niche.
Okay. So I've been thinking about that ever since I saw that tweet. You know, like what game could it be? And I didn't put a ton of thought, right? It's just like a thought in the back of my mind, you know, where I might just be going throughout my day normally and then I'll think about it. for a few minutes. Like, what could it be, right? So it's not like I'm thinking about it all day, but I'm definitely like, what could it be? And one of the titles that comes to mind is Kid Icarus.
Mm-hmm.
Beloved. I believe it is, but I'm probably the wrong guy to ask. I grew up playing the original Kid Icarus. I'm old. I'm very old. I played Kid Icarus of Myth and Monsters on Game Boy, the original Game Boy. So there's those 2 Kid Icarus games. We got, the 3D classics on 3DS, which was just playing. It's cool, but it was just playing Kid Icarus in 3D. Obviously, we got Pit and Smash, and then we got Kid Icarus on 3DS. So I don't know if that falls into that category. Then there's the Fire Emblem genealogy of the Holy War, right? But they're saying it's new. He's saying it's a new game. So even if that's a remake, I'm thinking that can't count as new then. That would be more along the lines of maybe the remaster section. Maybe. I don't know.
You mean like if they did Kid Icarus Uprising or the younger, the older ones?
I'm just thinking if we got a new one, because he says there's a new game coming. New game from a beloved franchise. So it's not a remake. It's not a remaster then. He's saying it's a new game.
Interesting.
Right? So I was trying to really read it close, and I'm like, okay. So it's probably not those. So maybe we get a new Kid Icarus, but I feel like we'd get the 3DS remake first. So I don't think that's realistic. And I thought about Star Fox. God, it's been absent for a very long time.
Oh, don't give me hope.
I know, right?
I want it so bad.
So I thought of that. Then I thought of course, F-Zero GX. But I'm like, again, that's
not new.
It would just be a remaster. So if his words are true that it's a new game, it can't be that either. Obviously I've talked about a bunch on the podcast about Super Mario Galaxy 2 coming out on Switch 1. I believe it was left off the 3D All-Stars for a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
I think a great reason to release it is for the 40th anniversary, of course, of Mario. That'd be a great way to celebrate it with Switch 1 owners, and then Switch 2 owners will have the new 3D Mario. So both Switch owners get to eat for Mario's 40th, which I think is a good thing. And maybe they do add a little something to it, like they did with, Bowser's Fury. That'd be nice. Then I thought about Mother, Earthbound. I mean, obviously I'm dreaming here, but I still thought about it because, a man can dream, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, well, we wouldn't get a new one before we got 3. So it's like, what could it be? I mean, it's not going to be a new wave race. I mean, if it was a new wave race, I pretty sure I died and went to heaven.
Nintendogs.
Maybe it's a Pilot Wings.
Yeah.
It's just like, what is niche for Nintendo? How can we define this unless we go really niche? So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I've thought about it. I don't really know where we go from here. Would I love to see a new game out of all those games that I mentioned? Like a new game in that series? Absolutely. I guess we'll see. As far as the Kirby Planet Robobot, we've heard so much about this. I 100% believe that's happening. That rumor's been floating around for a while. I think the rumors are credible as well. So yes on that. Now for what I think we're really going to see, and again, I put this in my 2025 most anticipated games video, which I think was a ballsy move, honestly. Because you know how the internet likes to call people out if you say anything incorrect. But I did it because I'm like, you know what? I stand by this because I believe, just logically speaking, that we're going to get Metroid Prime 2 and 3 this year. So I put it on that list for coming out this year. Of course, I already had people say, those games haven't been announced. I'm like, yeah, I know. I literally said that in the video. but I believe it's going to happen.
Mhm.
That has to happen, guys. There's no two ways about it. How else? How else is Metroid Prime 4 going to reach a new tier?
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Mhm.
And if it doesn't happen, the only tier is going to be the tears running down the faces because the sales are going to be horrible.
Mm.
When I say horrible, they're not going to reach the heights that it needs to in order for Metroid to break in to a new stratosphere. And it's very important, obviously, because how much money's been spent on this game?
Yeah.
It was first announced E3 2017. Okay, like this is crazy territory. This is 8 years.
Do we have any idea what the rough sales numbers were for Prime Remastered?
I know we saw it in the million section of a Nintendo financial report.
Yeah, I can't recall how, because I am curious. I have to imagine. Again, I am in the camp of I think Prime 4 is gonna launch also on the Switch 2, and it's gonna be, if not at launch, soon after launch. And I imagine that's probably going to draw a lot of people back to who've never played a Metroid Prime game before to go check out that original remaster. And it seems like a good idea for Nintendo to have that 2 and 3 because it could be a good incentive for people who've never checked out the series to play the trilogy and dive in.
I'm waiting for it. I personally am waiting for the trilogy because I didn't play Metroid Prime 4 Metroid Prime 1 during the GameCube era. I played it this one. So I'm waiting for the HD version to come out so I can continue the series kind of in the same theme instead of going back and playing it with lower graphics and stuff because I was so impressed by one.
Yeah.
I
think you really have to get these games out because I think it's a big ask from Nintendo to be like, hey, we want you to play Metroid Prime 1, and then we want you to not even think about the existence of Metroid Prime 2 and 3. Don't worry about anything. Just play part 4. I mean, could you imagine if you watch like the first Harry Potter and then someone insists that you watch part 4 next?
Yeah, you're right.
Like, what? Why? You know what I mean? Or like, same thing with any of the long running movie, like the Star Wars movies. Could you imagine that? Be like, why are we doing this? Why am I not seeing these other two? I think people are going to have a major hang up with it if you're being asked to jump from 1 to 4. I think they really need to get those out if they want to, be able to sell as many copies as possible. And I'm in the same camp too, GameBird, as far as Metroid Prime 4 releasing on both consoles. I think it has to, because of the amount of money that's been spent, the years in development, switching developer or switching directors, everything that's happened, right? So first it was what was it, Bandai that was first doing Metroid Prime, and then it went to Retro, and then didn't they have to replace the director maybe like a year or two in? And dude, that's a lot of money that's been spent if you think about that many years of development, and then you think about what is Retro Studios brought in, to add to the bottom line. It's like, well, we had DK Tropical Freeze, right? You know what I mean? So you got to look at all those factors too, and it's like they got to make up that money. But at the same time, when you release Metroid Prime 4, it's going to have, Switches will be over 150 million user install base. So you have to do that. You have to take advantage of that. If you're Metroid, you cannot just release it on Switch 2. Or if you do, again, there's ways about it, right? You could release it on Switch 1, but if you play it on Switch 2, it plays better. There's options there. There could be a performance patch. There's a number of options they can do. All I got to say is they got to just make sure that it at least plays better, I think, on Switch 2.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. But you got to open it up to the entire Nintendo install base.
I 100% agree.
But that for the February Direct, that's really where I'm at. it's really important for Metroid Prime 2 and 3 to get out the door before Part 4. And when's 4 coming, right? Is it a launch title? We don't know. Is it going to be in the fall before 3D Mario? Like, if you ask me, I think Mario Kart's the launch title. I think 3D Mario is the flagship holiday Christmas title.
Yeah, makes sense.
And Metroid Prime 4 is going to fall somewhere in between that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about where Nintendo wants to put it. So people need enough time to play these games too. And if you're releasing a game like Xenoblade on March 20th, that's going to be 80, 100-hour game. You got to give people enough time to do this before it's all said and done, to get a little bit of a lead up. So that's why I think it's a damn shoo-in that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 has got to be talked about. If it's not, I don't know. It might be too late. You might not be able to get as much out of it as you should. So that's where I'm at. Nate, where are you at?
Look, I'm going to try to keep this brief, right? Trying to cut the show down from the 5 hours it's been lately. So here's the thing. It's going to be a fucking blowout. It's going to be a full Nintendo Switch 1 full direct. Full standard general direct. We ain't looking at anything that's about direct minis or partner showcases at this point. They're going all out. And they're going to go all out because it's the final Switch Direct. I do not believe we will have any more dedicated Nintendo Switch 1 general or mini directs again after this. There will be no more. There might be partner showcases. Who knows? There could be some indie worlds that are related to Switch 1, although at that point, they'll probably just say Switch 1 and Switch 2 because backwards compatible. So that's the thing. Like, once Switch 2's out, I don't really think there's anything dedicated to Switch anymore.
Yep.
And I think once we get to April, I mean, Nintendo's entire focus shifts. So, at least marketing-wise, shifts. So I feel like this is going to be like the last hurrah. And they did something similar actually after Nintendo Switch was first revealed in October. We had a direct related to the 3DS before the January showcase. So they did this before. Like, this is repeating history with their currently active platform because Wii U is already discontinued at that point. So I think they're going to go all out. I do think that they're going to have one big new announcement. I don't think PH Brazil is lying to us. I think he's been spot on with these directs long enough at this point that I have a lot of faith in what he's saying. And even like when we had like the patents and like the trademarks with the Kirby Planet Robot, him and Nate the Hate were teasing this like 2 years ago that this game was coming. It's been teased for a while. They just they're a bit more like now they're just saying it more often because it's happening this year. That being said, I expect that game to be there. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be there. I also think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be there on April 2nd as well. Yeah, but I feel like it's been 6-7 months since we've seen Metroid Prime 4. It is an announced game for this year. Nintendo's already put up a post advertising that the game is coming. Mm-hmm. So there's no way that they're going to let a general Switch 1 Direct go by and not have Prime 4 in there. Yep. But I think what it's going to mostly be is they're going to have just another trailer. Maybe they show off a boss fight this time or something. They show off something new about the game, something new that gets people excited. Because last time it was kind of like, oh yeah, it looks like Metroid Prime, right? All right, now they show off something new this time. And then at the end, they shadow drop Prime 2-3 HD.
Yes.
It'll be at the end of the trailer. They'll drop it. We'll get like a quick 5 seconds of like those games, and boom, they're out. You can buy them right now, $40 a pop or whatever they want to charge for them. Maybe they sell them as a combo back for $60, physical later. I have no idea. Because I do think those games probably, you don't do one remastered and then don't have 2 and 3 come out before 4. Just has to happen. And hey, we're a year from when they shadow dropped the last one. Shadow drop it again. All right. I think that's a given. I think a lot of people kind of expect 2 and 3. It'd be really shocking to have a general Switch 1 dedicated direct and not have 2 and 3 in it. Because that means they might not be coming out then before 4, which would be really weird since we got 1. These games haven't been played in a long time, guys. It goes back to Wii. Wii was when 3 Corruption came out. So, like, it's been a while. There's people playing Switch right now that have never heard of Metroid Prime.
18 years since the Wii game.
So,
wild.
Yeah, so that I think is important to get some newer fans caught up to 4, although I think 4 will be able to be played standalone. I don't think you'll need to be able to, you have to play the Fire 3 to enjoy 4. It's the way most Nintendo games are. Now, setting that aside, I do think there'll be some sort of Zelda remaster here, whether it's Wind Waker or Twilight Princess. I would prefer Wind Waker because next time I see Twilight Princess, I want it to be a from the ground remake. I don't want it to be just porting the HD version over. And Wind Waker, look, love it or hate it. I know a lot of people actually love the game. Bottom line is both those ports have supposedly been done for years. So it's just time to bring it out. Maybe they even say Twilight Princess HD, and they do bring that out, like the old HD version, but they do it next year, right? Because they're going to keep supporting Switch for another couple of years. This isn't the last. This Direct won't. I guarantee there will be games from Nintendo after this Direct still coming to Switch 1.
Yep.
They're just going to be remakes and remasters. They're not going to be like things they're going to make big deals about. It's going to be kind of like when they dropped the Bayonetta 3 release date on Twitter. It's just going to be like a drop like that on social media. Hey, boom, we got this game coming. It's coming out in a couple months for Switch 1. Cool. And if it does get announced in like a normal Direct, it's going to be because it's got some special Switch 2 features related to it, which may or may not be a thing with all Switch 1 games. We don't really know if there's upgrades. We'll find out April 2nd, I'm sure. Besides that, when I was talking about the PH Brazil stuff and him having like this big game, and he talked about it being like a beloved franchise that's niche, and I know he kind of clarified, well, maybe it's not niche, because it's hard to be beloved and niche at the same time.
Right?
Very.
Beloved makes you kind of like pretty well known. But then also, if you're saying niche, I assume at that point you're going off sales then. What would be niche franchises for Nintendo in sales? Well, okay, probably a franchise that hasn't had a new entry in a while. But is still well known and really loved. And it's very obvious. And I think everyone keeps forgetting. It's the new Donkey Kong game. We've had that rumored for 2 years that they had some new Donkey Kong, whether it was 3D or side-scrolling. DK games, if you go look at the sales history, they don't actually sell that well. They're not massive sellers. They sell like Kirby does. We haven't had a new one, technically, since like 2014. It's been 11 years since we've had a brand new Donkey Kong game. So it fits the criteria of it's been a while. It's a beloved franchise, a beloved character. They have the theme parks now. They have, obviously, he's going to be prominently featured again in the new Mario movie, probably. Yeah. We don't know that for sure. We haven't seen a trailer, but I'm assuming he's going to be prominently featured in there. So he's well known. He's a very beloved character. But Mario's really the one that blew up, not Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong kind of went by the wayside once Mario blew up.
Yep.
And again, we don't get Donkey Kong games very often. Think what we got: Returns, and we got Tropical Freeze, and before that it was what? DK64 and the bongo game, the Jungle Beat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just don't get DK games very often. Just for some reason we don't. So it fits the criteria, I think, of being a beloved franchise. That if you just glance at sales, you can say, okay, it's pretty niche. We don't get the game very often because it doesn't sell well. And I know it feels weird because we just had Returns. I don't think Nintendo gives two craps they brought Returns back. It looks like one of the cheapest, simplest jobs ever done. Like I don't. And really,
it is.
Yeah, whatever studio's behind it. I know we now know it's in the credits what studio was. Well, it wasn't a first party studio that did it.
Yeah.
So they outsourced that. So I kind of look at it as DK needs a little bit of a revenge tour because I think Returns HD is leaving a little sour taste in some people's mouths. I've seen nothing really but negative posts from people about it that were excited because hitboxes changed and there's graphical things missing that actually affect the gameplay, not just the way it looks.
Really?
Yeah, some of the stages are more difficult because the graphic was pared back, so it doesn't look like it's hitting you, but it's actually hitting you. Even though
the hitbox thing is so real, though.
Yeah, the hitbox
that's horrible.
It's my first time playing it, and I'm having a blast with it.
And that's
it's still great.
It's still a great game.
Yeah,
and it's your first time playing it. You probably won't notice these things.
Yeah.
But this is the third release. So people have played through this, many times already. Yeah. And it's no, this is different. This doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
and that's fine. I mean, the idea is for new fans, anyways. They're gonna love it, which is I think most new players love it. I know my kids are liking it. So shout out to Nintendo for sending me a copy, even though I didn't ask for one. They really want everyone playing that game, even though I had no intention of playing it. But you know what? I gave it to my kid, and he's having a good time. That being said, I think that's the one. I think that's what PH Brazil is talking about. He just doesn't want to say DK in case it doesn't happen because it's been rumored for so damn long. Yeah. And at this point, some people will be like, oh, if it's a brand new 3D Donkey Kong, I'd rather that be on Switch too. I'm like, okay, fine. I'd rather it just come out. How about that? Yeah. Let's just have it come out.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a number of third-party games. There was all those rumors about Nintendo contacting third parties about bringing over a bunch of ports and remasters of older games. And I think that is absolutely happening. especially now that Nintendo's focus is shifting to Switch 2. It's going to kind of leave a clear runway on Switch for some of these ports and remasters from third parties that could probably do really, really well. So I think that's absolutely happening, and it does help that Nintendo put up that graphic at their last investors meeting. Here's all of our partners. And they're a bunch of AAA third parties who we haven't seen games from on Nintendo in like years.
A wheel, man.
So it was a crazy list they put up. And I know a lot of that's probably for Switch 2, but I bet you some of that is some commitments to bringing some stuff to Switch 1 as well.
Yeah.
So I do think it's going to be a pretty damn big direct. Whatever the niche franchise thing is, that'll be the closer. I don't think ZA is going to be here. I think they could potentially announce that ZA will be in the Pokemon thing on the 27th. They could announce that. I know they can show Pokemon now in directs. That is absolutely a thing now. They broke that barrier.
Right?
Also, Mike saw they recently updated a patent for Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers from 3DS. Sure, maybe that's getting ported over. Absolutely possible. Anything from Nintendo's back catalog, they can get any company to kind of work. Grezzo is maybe working on it. They like bringing 3DS games over.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a pretty big direct, but it's going to be very, very, guys, just so you guys know, it's going to be very port and remaster heavy. And they're going to be really leaning on Prime 4 and this other game as like the two new games. And then I think they could tease ZA news for the Pokemon thing on the 27th. Because I honestly think this direct's happening like a week before then. So I think they won't mind at that point advertising Pokemon Day. Pokemon Day will already be announced at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Can I add one thing? Before the next person goes?
Yeah.
One announcement, and this one's gonna be big. Okay, I'm gonna go all on this one. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Something happened on January 5th that, well, I think me and one other person covered it, and this was the beginning of production for an upcoming movie. We're all expecting. Okay,
Zelda movie.
Legend of Zelda movie. I think they are going to reveal the cast for the live action movie, just like they did with the Mario movie during a direct. Right, that was a direct with Arlo went nuts when they showed Chris Pratt. So I think that this could be a good time to reveal the cast, because 2025, the movies is currently in production. There's going to be a lot of things leaking from behind the scenes. People, shots in the movie industry.
Rolling shots.
When it comes to live action movies, things leak. Like in the sets, people in costumes. So they want to get ahead of it before anything. I mean, they've done a pretty good job at keeping it quiet. So hopefully, we get that reveal this direct.
It's a good point.
I think that's a good point. I'm gonna disagree. I think they'll wait till after the Switch 2 direct, because like it'll just bury it. Like literally bury it.
I also disagree. I actually think we're going to see Mario movie 2 stuff before we see the Zelda movie, and we got the big Mario anniversary coming up. I think the Zelda movie, I think it's going to be very ambitious, and I think it's a little bit farther out than some people think. And I could be wrong. That's just my opinion.
You are. But
I think Mario the Mario 2 movie makes a lot of sense.
Zelda movie drops this year, according to Mike Odyssey.
Cyber, but you crashed, man. You crashed with that one. I've been following Wes Ball's like trajectory, right? And then I put it upon myself to follow the pre-production stage all the way to when the film drops, right? He finished with Planet of the Apes, which was his last movie. And there's CGI, and there's also live action, and there's when you look at Planet of the Apes, there's even a castle in the movie, like a type of a castle kind of thing. So the overall kind of CGI versus live action that I expect to see in the Zelda movie, that kind of movie gives you a glimpse of his work, right? And so I remember him announcing the movie in 2023, and then the movie came out. 2022 at the end. Movie came out 2024. I think it was during summertime around that May. I think it was May. So it was like a year and a half total from all the way from announcement, pre-production, production to release. I'm following now the Man of Steel one with Superman. Man of Steel. Superman with James Gunn, right? Same thing. It's the same type of movie. And if you see the trailer, they have like this big dragon or this big kind of dinosaur or whatever, like just blowing fire at Superman while he's flowing. I don't know where that came from, but it's there, and that requires a lot of CGI work. Superman flying, a whole bunch of stuff, right? And then look at the time when they announced the Superman movie, when he first released that little video for Superman, and his future plans, pre-production, production, post-production. What are you guys laughing at? What are you typing behind the scenes? Are you talking about me?
No.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it was at about now a year and a half to 2 years from announcement before pre-production to release in theaters. So I remember animation takes 3 years. That takes a lot more time than a live action movie would, especially now with the new stages, LED stages that they have in Los Angeles, where they filmed the Mandalorian. Like a lot of the Mandalorian was filmed on stages nowadays, and they do the coloring there and everything, the lighting. So it's like you can't production for movies nowadays, even with these the cameras that capture your face, and all they got to do is just CGI a face on top of that, and that's how they did Planet of the Apes. So you look at the how they made it. They use live action people all throughout the movie, all throughout, and then they just turn them into apes in post production. So yeah, that's why I could see a movie being announced this year, and next year having 2 Nintendo movies. Remember, these are 2 studios, Sony and Illumination, and so they're competing companies. So they don't really, it's like Nintendo's involved, but still the studio releasing and promoting is Sony, and the studio releasing and promoting is Universal Illumination. I rest my case.
You rest your case.
I rest it,
I think they don't say anything until summer.
Your Honor.
Don't really have any other case other than just I don't think they want the movie to get overshadowed by Switch 2.
Yeah, I don't think it will though. I don't think it will.
You'd be
I
surprised.
don't think they want. I also don't think they want to spend time talking about a movie in the big Switch 2 Direct. I think they want that solely to be about Switch 2. You know?
You're all wrong. Good. Bye.
Yeah.
Tom Holland versus the Switch 2.
They also might just do a dedicated Zelda movie direct later this year too. It's possible.
And that would be hype.
Because like for animation, it was a little different. You were just revealing the voice actors, right? You didn't have to show anything.
Yeah.
But these are not voice actors. These are like the actual characters. We're looking at them for the first time. So I kind of feel like you need to do more than just like say this person is Link and this person is Zelda. That person's game. Like no, you need to show it. You need to show it.
And this movie's going to be
I think they're going to
held under a much more critical lens as well than the animated Mario movie.
Listen. If they reveal the movie this direct, we have to have this same exact panel next time, but everybody has to be dressed as Tingle, and I can be dressed as Link.
Tingle's my favorite Nintendo character of all time, so I'm in regardless.
All right,
Jokes on you.
I'll show up as Tingle regardless.
It's all right. I'm gonna hit.
I've got the spandex out back, so
Tingle costume being ordered.
We're trying to cast Tingle in the chat right now. Are you guys seeing this?
Yes, I see that.
H month throughout Joe Pesci.
I actually kind of like that.
I gotta do too.
Yeah, that's kind of works.